Good morning, everyone. I would like to share with you some of our research progresses on exploring the effects of viewpoint height and fluctuation on walking perception in panoramic tours. My presentation consists of 4 parts. First, I will introduce the background of this study. As an emerging media, Panorama provides opportunities for panoramic virtual roaming of real environments. By shooting panoramic video and wearing VR equipment, users can make the scenery real reproduction. But in order to realize the real sense of roaming experience, also need to consider the panoramic virtual scene of the viewpoint height and viewpoint fluctuation problem. Viewpoint height, as one of the important design factors for HMD-based panoramic video systems, has a significant impact on user experience and interactivity. For example, psychologically speaking, a high viewpoint brings a sense of authority, while a low viewpoint brings a sense of oppression and tension. In addition, the height of the viewpoint directly affects the user's judgment of the distance, size, and depth of objects in the scene. For example, when the viewpoint height is high, users tend to perceive more distant objects and the overall layout of the scene more easily, while when the viewpoint is low, the proportion of objects in the field of view and the occlusion relationship is more complex, which tends to produce a more compact sense of space and sense of closure. Of course, it also directly affects the interaction in VR. A high point of view can cause difficulties for users to grasp objects on the ground or low down in the operation, and can produce a narrowing effect of the interaction target. The 3 videos above demonstrate several common approaches to VR experience. It has been verified that walking-driven navigation can significantly enhance the realism and immersion of virtual roaming. In a virtual scene constructed based on 3D models, walking fluctuation can be added to the roaming to enhance the walking perception, as shown in the lower right corner. By adding walking viewpoint fluctuations, the user's sense of presence and motion perception can be effectively enhanced. Compared to the translation motion shown in the lower left corner, the viewpoint fluctuation simulates the natural undulation and swaying of the human body when walking, thus giving the user a more realistic walking experience, and also effectively reducing the generation of motion sickness. However, it is worth noting that a panoramic virtual scene is usually a pre-recorded panoramic video that presents the real environment to the user via a rendering engine, which results in the user only being able to view the video at the height of the viewpoint at the time of recording, which may be inappropriate for the height of the viewpoint for users of different heights. In addition, it is difficult to add viewpoint fluctuations matching the user's walking behavior to the pre-recorded panoramic video to further enhance the realism of the user's panoramic roaming. In this paper, we first explore the characteristics of viewpoint fluctuation for real walking in panoramic virtual environments and construct a virtual camera motion model in the walking motion state. And we extend the effect of viewpoint height on user experience during motion state and analyze the mechanism of how viewpoint height affects multisensory consistency perception. Finally, we design and evaluate adaptive methods that adjust the viewpoint based on the fluctuation characteristics of real walking interaction and the eye-level heights of users. Specifically, we conducted a total of 3 studies. Study 1 focuses on exploring the viewpoint fluctuation characteristics of human walking interactions and modeling them with walking behavior data. Study 2 investigates the impact of viewpoint height on user experience during panoramic real walking roaming. Based on these 2 studies, we propose 2 methods for adaptive matching of viewpoint height and fluctuation in Study 3 and validate the possibility of visual manipulation to enhance the perceived realism of walking in panoramic virtual environments. To elucidate the viewpoint fluctuation characteristics of human walking interaction in panoramic VEs, Study 1 establishes a user-centered virtual camera motion model based on walking behavioral data of users with HMD and further explores the effect of viewpoint fluctuation on the perceptual integration of walking interaction. To implement real walking interaction, we calculated the mapping values, video frames, of the user's position in real space and the path of the panoramic video in real time, as shown in left figure. And as shown in right figure, the user completes a panoramic virtual roaming using 2 conditions in a panoramic video sequence at their own eye level. By utilizing the spatial position information and eye gaze information, we constructed a viewpoint fluctuation model of the user's walking interaction with HMD. As the fluctuation of the participant's viewpoint during walking can be regarded as a periodic signal, Fourier fitting was employed to represent this signal into a series of sinusoidal and cosine functions with different frequencies. The Fourier fitting clarifies the primary frequency components and amplitude variations of the viewpoint fluctuation during walking. Furthermore, as the forward walking trajectory of the participants approximates a uniform rectilinear motion, it was fitted to a polynomial. We also analyzed the user's eye gaze data. The coordinate origin was set at the upper left corner. The horizontal and vertical axes represented the x-axis, 0 to 1, and y-axis, 0 to 1. As our primary focus was on issues relating to the vertical aspect of gaze, we primarily analyzed the changes in gaze data along the vertical direction. To enhance the accuracy of the motion model of gaze data in the y-axis direction, we optimized the analysis using the Fourier fitting method. As shown in figure, the variation in eye movement behavior compensates for fluctuation in the gaze point resulting from the walking interaction. Under the mismatch condition, participants reported higher SSQ scores reflecting their conflicting sensory input from vision and vestibular system. The objective behavioral data also indicated that participants increased their lateral body sway to maintain balance in the presence of fluctuating mismatches. Surprisingly, the mismatch condition did not affect the walking speed, contradicting the higher SSQ scores and proneness to vertigo under this condition. This unexpected result is possibly attributable to the limited length of our walking path. Sensory mismatch problems might become more pronounced in longer paths, leading participants to slow their walking speed or even terminate the experiment. The indicators suggest that when the visual feedback of viewpoint fluctuation contradicts the physical movement-induced oscillations of the body's center of gravity, balance is compromised and dizziness can increase, affecting both the perceptual integration of visual and vestibular systems. Viewpoint height is also a factor that affects the perceptual integration of real walking interaction. In Study 1, most participants perceived higher virtual viewpoint when real walking in panoramic VEs constructed with eye-level height, causing a sensation of suspension. We further explored the effect of the difference between viewpoint height and users' eye-level height on real walking interaction in panoramic VEs. The experiment consisted of two tasks, a motion task and a perceptual selection task. The participants completing the motion task experienced a panoramic virtual environment through real walking interaction at different viewpoint heights. In the perceptual selection task, participants were required to manually operate the up or down buttons on the controller to smoothly change different viewpoint heights. In this way, participants can choose the most comfortable viewpoint height during real walking interaction according to personal preference. The Study 2 mainly aimed to investigate the effect of viewpoint height on walking interaction. A viewpoint height of 10 centimeters below eye level provided the optimal user experience during the walking interaction. In previous studies on the preferred viewpoint heights of users standing while viewing panoramic videos, the comfortable range was plus or minus 30 centimeters from the user's eye level, larger than the acceptable range of viewpoint heights in the motion state in our study, minus 20 to 0 centimeters from the user's eye level. The difference is possibly attributable to the complexity and dynamics of viewpoint height perception during real walking motion state. While walking, the brain must integrate visual, proprioceptive, and vestibular sensory information to perceive and understand the motion state and changing virtual environments in real time. In general, the motion state narrows the threshold at which the user's perception of height can be tolerated. Inspired by novel panorama synthesis and visual manipulation, we preliminarily designed viewpoint adaptive adjustment methods that match the viewpoint height to the user's eye-level height, as well as match the viewpoint fluctuation between the virtual camera and the walking behavior based on the findings of our previous research. We proposed a dynamic virtual camera compensation method based on the head elevation angle and walking behavior characteristics of the user, which combined the fitting curve function derived in Study 1 and the results of Study 2. The height of the virtual camera fluctuates slightly in the vertical direction to match the motion perception of the vestibule. Meanwhile, the virtual viewpoint perceived by the user is dynamically determined from the user's head elevation angle, and the height of the virtual camera is slowly changed to maintain, as far as possible, a horizontal angle of the user's head during the walking interaction. Combining the user's head elevation angle and walking viewpoint fluctuation characteristics, we can adapt the virtual camera height to the user's physical reaction, providing a viewing height that simulates real-world visual experiences. Inspired by view synthesis technique, we also solve this problem by synthesizing virtual viewpoint panoramas in vertical direction. We utilize a convolutional neural network to process the panorama captured in the panoramic video frame into a translucent multi-sphere image of various depths. In the process of synthesizing panoramas from virtual viewpoints, we limited them to the vertical direction and rendered panoramas at different viewpoint heights through overblended textured sphere projections. The interactive panoramic roaming process with adaptive adjustment of viewpoint height and fluctuation is shown in figure. On this basis, we chose the viewpoint height, which was experienced as the worst in Study 2, as the baseline, and conducted a user study to validate the effectiveness of the above two methods for solving the viewpoint height and viewpoint fluctuation problems during panoramic virtual scene roaming. The results of the experiment show that the preliminarily designed viewpoint adaptation methods improve the viewpoint mismatch problem during panoramic roaming with real walking interaction. The combination of two methods improved the comfort and realism of users with different heights walking in panoramic VEs created from the same viewpoint height. The subjective feedback and objective data indicated that dynamic virtual camera compensation, virtual viewpoint panorama synthesis, and their combination reduced simulator motion sickness and effectively lowered the head elevation angle, thereby improving the participants' immersion in panoramic experience. It demonstrated the great potential to adjust the user's desired viewpoint height in real time while navigating panoramic VEs created with a fixed viewpoint by real walking interaction. The accurately matched human height perception and viewpoint fluctuation provide users with real walking interaction of panoramic experience. Overall, our research focuses on enhancing the realism of walking perception in panoramic virtual environments by addressing viewpoint height and viewpoint fluctuation during walking. This work makes panoramic virtual roaming more immersive. In the future, we will investigate more how to interact with real perceptions of work in panoramas such as jumping, climbing stairs, and other interactive actions. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.